Welcome to Real Herbalism Radio, recorded live at River Road Studios. Today's show is brought to you by Get Healthy Now with Candace.
Get healthy now, not later, not before, already now, and not tomorrow, now, right?
Okay, right now.
If you'd love to do a consult and look at ways that you can get more healthy in your life, that you can improve your current feelings of wellness and lifestyle, give me a shout. You can look me up at gethealthynow.com or gethealthynowwithcandace.com.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh.
And Occupy Medical.
Occupy Medical is changing. We have...
What?
Yes, I know. It's really weird, but I've always in the past said we're a street reach, and we're still doing street reach. We're just doing it a different way. We have a place in Springfield, and we also have a clinic that we have opened and have been doing for the last couple of months in Eugene, and that's the street reach part where we're specifically working with people that are unhoused. The clinic that we have in Springfield is a building, and we have two suites of it. And one part is for hygiene supplies and food for people that are struggling. They can just come in and get whatever they need. And then we have the other part, which is the medical part with the herbal part of it, and then the counseling as well as the integrated health part. And that is just because we have a place, just like anybody that's coming out of being unhoused to being housed, they find all of a sudden all of these survival skills that they needed to have time for. They don't need to have time for it anymore because, they got four walls around us, and that's the same thing for us. So it's been great to be able to burst out and do a whole bunch more projects. So
how can people contribute?
Well, we are a 501c3, and that is there's a bunch of information that we have on Facebook and Twitter and on our website at occupy-medical.org.
All right. And we're now, our next sponsor is Mud Paw Design House. It's, formerly Hunter Creation. This is the first time we're talking about it over the air, if you will. So Mud Paw Design House is a company that Candace and I run and own, and it is graphic design and website design. If you're looking for a website that will match your branding of your printed materials, we can help you out. Or if you have printed materials and need a website, we can help you out with that too. So let us know at mudpahdesignhouse.com.
That's a mud paw, like a dog paw. That's muddy.
Design.com or mudpahdesignhouse.com.
That's cute.
Right. All right. And how about you, Sue?
What about me?
What do you bring to the table?
What do I bring to the table? Well, I've got two. Should I just talk about the two things real quick?
Sure.
I'll talk about Patreon first. So I mentioned before about Occupy Medical, and I do a lot of stuff just during the week, working with people that I cannot bill them. I just can't. They don't have any money. But being a community herbalist, the work, I've been doing this for so long, the work just has to be done. So I am asking for people to donate to my Patreon account so that I can continue working with people. And with that kind of sponsorship, that means that I could also continue training other folks that want to open up clinics like we have. And I've been doing that. And I've just been kind of doing it for free. So we need community herbalism in this country, and I am willing to be the voice of experience. So I just need support from people. And you can go to my Patreon account at www.patreon.com/SueSierraLupe.
Okay. That's really cool.
Yep. That's just one of them.
Do you have any more? Do you have any supporters already?
So I do. I have a couple of wonderful supporters that have been brave enough to put in for one of them as a one-time supporter, and then the others are monthly supporters.
Nice.
Yep. So
all right. Did you have something else?
Very much. Yes. So there's also Sierra Lupe Herbal Consulting, and that's at gmail.com, and that is my business that I do herbal consulting, and that is for people get charged per hour for that one. So that's that. They get the same kind of service. And I can come to people's houses and do things online, and that's available. So you've heard the genius. Now you can have that in your life too.
All right. Ace High Heat Graphics, custom imprinted shirts and caps and everything else that you can wear. they're specializing in event wear. So if you are an herbal organization and you are putting on a fair or a festival and you need to have 200-300 shirts done, that Ace High Heat Graphics can help you out, can save you a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that Ace High Heat Graphics is doing is also doing branded wear for companies. So for within the company. So if you are a herbal organization and you have employees and people and volunteers that you want to have them all wearing like the same shirts, or they would like to support the company by purchasing a shirt, that's another thing that Ace High Heat Graphics does.
We're in fact we're doing a company store for a large client right now, so their employees can go there and buy their shirts. We did a promotion for that company, and all the employees liked the shirts so much that they wanted to buy them for workwear.
Nice.
So they said, "Can you help us with that?" So we're setting them up with an online store.
That's really cool. And with the political season brewing up, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would want their slogans written on their shirts too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. And finally, the Herbal Nerd Society, for which we would not be able to do any of this.
Right.
Right.
Yes. We are thankful for the Herbal Nerd Society.
When I don't want to come here some days and record because I got other things to do, I just remember there's a bunch of Herbal Nerd Society members paying me to get here.
I know. And they get content every single week. We put an article together. I've been banging my head against the keyboard this month for Spilanthes.
Right, me too. That one's a challenging one because it's not as well promoted an herb.
Yeah.
Even though it is a really wonderful herb.
It really is. I mean, I use it in the
Powerful
clinic
plant.
a lot, and doing all this research, like, man, I'm underutilizing this plant.
Right. Yes, and I'm doing the research on it, but it's challenging to find herbal energetics on it. It's pretty sparse because it's not a part of the traditional Ayurvedic or TCM pantheons, and it's certainly was probably used by traditional Western herbalists way back when, but there's not a ton on it. So I'm finding that really interesting.
Well, it's a fabulous plant. I remember being in the South. Just you cannot miss it because it's a little red dot. And it's I'm in love with it. So I'm learning things, and I love sharing the things I'm learning with other people.
So above and beyond the more advanced herbal articles for the Herb of the Month, we also have access to all of the old podcasts from which we realized today we've done this for about 6 years now. So we have 180 episodes, 160 of which are in the backlog. So you have 160 episodes of podcasts that you can get a hold of if you're the Practical or the Herbal Nerd Society member. And also you get an ad-free viewing experience. No pop-ups, no banner ads, no Google ads. It's just straight content.
Yep. And the Let's Talk series, where we have a section where people can listen to some of our guests give a specific information about their chosen topic.
That's right. All right, on with the show. Welcome to Real Herbalism Radio Show 181. This is our Herb Lab show. We're talking about our great interview with Justin Ehrlich last week, the practitioner of classical Chinese medicine and a licensed acupuncturist. I thought he had some really interesting information on his path and where he was at, and he brought up some interesting herbs. And Sue and Candace, looks like you guys are going to talk about those. So without any further ado, let's get this Herb Lab rolling. Now your hosts, Candace Hunter and Sue Sierra-Lupe.
I'm Candace Hunter.
And I'm Sue Sierra-Lupe. And welcome to Real Herbalism Radio. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
So she started with saying, I was not here for the first part of that interview, but I did hear it afterwards. In fact, today.
He was really a wonderful individual.
Yeah, he's very calm.
Very calm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think he ever gets nervous. I'm guessing. Never. Somehow he's mastered that. Perhaps it's a Taoist thing.
It's a Taoist
Perhaps, yes. Yeah.
Just perhaps.
And neighbors that one of the neighbors very, very mellow, and the other one was a little more excitable. And he finally said, I've got to figure out how to make my roommate to see what it is that's going to get him going, and tried a couple of different things like leaving stuff out of the refrigerator or doing, little pranks on him. And the roommate, so he's like,
the calm one just stayed calm.
Stayed calm until the prankster roommate picked up the mellow roommate's guitar and went to put it right in the fire. And that was when the, like, whoa, you started actually hearing an elevation of voice and seeing that guy move right fast. So it could be done. But we are not going to do that to you, Justin.
No,
do not worry.
not.
Your musical instruments are safe with us.
Indeed.
Yeah. For the formulas that he talked about, you have a particular interest in I think we're going to focus today on danshin and white peony.
Yeah, those are two that I've been using a lot over the last couple of years, but especially in the last maybe 6 months or so. And I partly started using them because I'm entering that age of the perimenopause.
Ah, yes.
So I've had problems with like heat rising, hot flashes, night sweats, things like that, anxiety and heart palpitations, things like that.
Right.
And danshin was really good for helping to calm that down and release the heat. So it's, keep things moving.
Right.
And then I've also had problems with dizziness that's been liver related. And my liver was like just not moving inside your body. Your organs each have sort of this little movement, like a little dance that they do, like literally physically. They move in their little patterns and they all do it. And if everything's perfect, they're all doing it in harmony and it all works well. And then there's like a range of motion and the liver has a really like a lot of different directions it goes. I can't tell you what they are because I'm not that well versed. I know this because my massage therapist knows this stuff and he helps me, figure out what's moving, what isn't, and get it moving again. And my liver is usually the one that's like it's stuck. It's not moving in its full range, which means that blood isn't circulating as well as it should be, and it's not able to do its job as well as it should.
The liver is a pretty important organ.
Yeah. And
moderates hormones and all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. And white peony is really wonderful for helping it move and helping the blood circulate without causing it to like drain too fast or anything. It's a gentle but firm herb. So I've been using those two in the formula that I'm taking right now.
And it's having a good effect on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I found that those two plus the others that I'm using are rebuilding and helping like my stomach and my liver to harmonize so that digestion's working better, less indigestion. And overall, working with those formulas plus working with acupuncture and a variety of other things has helped to reduce. And for the most part, I'm at the point where I don't really get hot flashes and night sweats as much. I was getting them a lot. That seems to be really reducing significantly.
Nice.
Which is very nice. Yeah.
I've used danshin as something to help with cardiovascular issues. But it's always been part of a formula. I don't think I've ever used it singularly.
Right. Yeah. I've put it in formulas. I mean, it's like the formula that I'm using now is danshin, white peony, and shatavari as the three primary herbs.
Oh.
So shatavari is danshin, which is the red sage root, and then white peony.
Oh, all three of those together.
Yeah. And then shatavari, which is a good one for just general feminine hormone balancing. Ayurvedic practice says that when a young woman reaches the age of her first period, she can begin taking shatavari every day and then just take it for the rest of her life. Every day.
So all the time.
Yeah, it's just it's like ashwagandha. When a young man reaches the age of similar, adolescence, he can begin taking ashwagandha and then just take it for the rest of his life.
Okay.
So those are like the two main ones for just general hormonal health in Ayurvedic practice. So for me, shatavari seemed like a really natural one to put at the top of that list of, the primary herbs in this formula.
And are you using those three together?
Like
equally?
Yeah. Equally. And as the primary herbs in the formula. And then I paired with them some spleen herbs, like spleen is like also helps the stomach. It helps your body build tissues and build and have enough energy. So I'm using jujube dates,
Jujube dates.
Yes.
I think a jujubes is a thing you have in the
I know those
theater.
little candies, right? Yeah. No.
I'm sure that's what they're named after.
It is probably what they're named after.
And these are dates?
Yeah, they're dates, and I get mine. I've gotten mine. You can get them at a lot of Asian grocery stores.
Uh-huh.
So it's just I found the
sweet.
They are. They're sweet. They're tasty. They don't taste the same as like dates from Turkey. Like I can see the word maridol dates or whatever you know which ones I'm talking about, right?
They're big and sticky.
Yeah. They don't taste the same as that. But they're similar, but it's not the same.
Very smaller.
They're big, but they're not sticky. And they're usually the ones I get are harder, probably because they're
imported.
Yeah, and dried.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm putting this into a tea. So I also included in the formula some Hisho Wu, which is
I've seen that before.
Yeah. I've seen it also as faux tea.
Right.
And it's, I'm trying to remember. I'm so bad at remembering I think that one's the one that's Polygonum multiflorum.
That sounds so correct.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
That one is a good one for getting blood moving and building blood. So building the, from a Western style perspective, what would that be? Building blood is, literally building blood and preventing anemia.
Uh-huh. So is it mineral rich?
Yeah, I expect it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know the constituent breakdown on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good for nourishing. It's like when you have blood deficiency. So after you've just finished your period, especially in your later years, so during the perimenopausal years, where a lot of times having your period is kind of exhausting to your body because you're really at the end. Your body's still trying to keep going, but it doesn't. So you're a little bit anemic at that point. You're tired and, so Hisho Wu is one that it doesn't like give you energy like reishi is zingy. It's not like that, but it does help your body rebuild more quickly and it fortifies.
Sure.
So I've included that one. And then I've also included one called Dangshen, which is actually Cadenopsis.
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
I use that one in part because reishi is kind of expensive, and Dangshen is a lot cheaper.
Really?
Yeah, and it can be used. It's not as potent as reishi, and I have a reishi formula that I use in tincture style. But for the tea, the reishi is like really it's a strong herb.
Sure,
and Cadenopsis is less strong yet still stimulating and energizing.
So you're using reishi. You're putting the slices of the mushroom in the tea too?
No, I didn't. Because I'm using Cadenopsis instead of reishi.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then licorice, gankao.
Yes, of course.
So yeah.
Licorice root.
Yeah, exactly. Licorice root.
Mm-hmm.
The one I'm using is the Chinese one just because I happen to have it, but
it's still
I would just use. I would use whichever one I've got.
Right. There's a lot of wiggle room when it comes to that genus. So.
It is. Yes, happily. And the other one that I'm trying is a new one for me. It's called Nu Genji, which is it's privet, Japanese privet, and it's a fruit. And
say it again. It's
Nu N-U.
Okay.
Gen Z-H-E-N, and then Z-I. Yeah, Nu Genji. And I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. So
it's okay. I'm not going to judge. So Japanese privet, that's actually something that's come up in my life just recently too. And I've been curious about it. Tell me about that one.
That one is one that I should really look up again because it's very new to me. I've been enjoying it. It seems like it's helpful and it is generally supportive.
Mm-hmm. So the book that I know you like a lot is by it's a Chinese materia.
Yeah, I've got a Chinese Traditional Herbal Medicine Volume 2, Materia Medica and Herbal Resource. and it's by Dr. Michael Tierra and Leslie Tierra. And it's nice because it's got a lot of these herbs that are kind of hard to find in like Western herbals.
Oh,
like this one. So the Nuzhenji is also called the Ligustri lucidium. So it's privet fruit. And it is for the liver and kidney channels. So it nourishes the liver and kidney channels, which will mean that it's giving energy and strength and helping to calm those areas. So your liver and your kidney channels get a lot of workout during the perimenopausal years because your hormonal system is doing all kinds of crazy things, like 1 minute too much estrogen, next minute not enough, 1 minute enough progesterone or too much, and the next minute not enough, back and forth, because your body, just like in adolescence, is trying to figure out how to regulate itself in the new way,
right,
but not quite letting go of the old way. So liver and kidney start to get very active. They can overheat, meaning they just become, there's just too much work. So dizziness is a sign of liver can be overheated or working too hard. Lower back pain in your kidney region can be, from the kidney, can be a kidney thing. Hot flashes and night sweats are also associated with too much heat, potentially rising from liver or kidney channels. And when you have your period, your kidneys channel is really drained or it's tired out, it's exhausted. And so the privet fruit or the Nuzhenji would be helping to rebuild that.
Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, I've worked with ligustrum is what I know it by because I do that. But I don't think I've ever used it. I just worked in so many medical companies and comes in. And so
I had the opportunity to get a pound of it. So I did and figured, well, what the heck? And then I started reading about it and I'm like, oh yeah. And it helps prevent premature aging signs like grayness and then like gray hair, getting premature gray hair. For me. Fortunately, I guess I can't say it's too late for me yet.
Right. No,
perhaps it's working.
Still a brunette.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm turning blonde.
Silver,
yes.
So that was one that I decided to add and try out and see how it goes.
Yeah, sure.
So far I've noticed that on the days when I remember to take tea, I feel generally better. And then, that'll last for an extra day or two. But if I go more than 3 or 4 days of forgetting to take it, I'll start to notice. I'll start to feel sort of like a little more fatigued, a little bit more flat, like sawdust. And then I take the tea again and it's like it nourishes everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should do this every day.
Right. That's good.
And then
I
I'll
wonder
be
if
good.
that helps helps your body pull or utilize things like thiamine or, those kind of B vitamins that generally work with people that are overtired or they're stressed out or.
It could be. I'm betting that it helps
healing.
it probably helps you better metabolize or absorb the nutrients.
Sure.
Because I have noticed that when taking tea regularly, things like constipation and diarrhea or when you go back and forth between them, that's less likely to happen than when I don't take it regularly.
Supporting the gut.
Yeah. Yeah. The reishi formula that I use is a reishi, usnea, and shiitake. Thank you. Shiitake. I kept seeing it in my mind and I couldn't say the name.
I have that all the time.
Yeah.
So the usnea, is that part of the traditional Chinese formula?
I don't know that it is.
Materia Medica.
I don't know that it is.
But this is something that
I use it because usnea is good for the respiratory system and it's good for cooling and protecting. That's what it does with the trees. It helps, their respiration.
Right.
And we know that it's good for respiratory, recovery from respiratory illnesses.
It's a good antibiotic. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And it supports the just good lung health in general. And then, so I that's why I paired it with reishi and shiitake because shiitake is moistening and building and tonifying. And reishi helps energy move. And for me, especially in the spring with hay fever and allergy season, and for us last fall with all of the fires, my lungs were really, really feeling very challenged.
Sure.
So I put those together, and then I added, what's the name of that wood fungus? Black fungus? Wood fungus? The one that we cook with.
Cloud fungus?
Cloud fungus. Yeah. So I had made a tincture with that in the fall, and I added that because it's really moistening. So I don't know. So far, so good. I would say it actually seems like I just recently, about a week ago, added the cloud mushroom fungus to the basic 3 fungus blend that I do. And so far, I'd say it seems like it's been quite helpful, but you'll have to ask me again at the end of allergy season.
Right. See how it works. Yep. How do you get your usnea? Are you harvesting it yourself? I
harvest it myself after, we just had the snowstorm.
Right.
So I went out and I was out walking looking for my cottonwood buds. And I was smart enough to bring 2 bags, and I found this huge branch of oak that had fallen, and it was covered in usnea, and it was completely, it was dead. It was deadfall. So, so I just took took a bunch of large chunks off of there. So I have a friend who has a farm out in Veneta, and we go out and do animal communication group there. And so occasionally I'll walk around her farm, and if I see it, just pick up the usnea. So we're out mushrooming. We'll find it then. Yeah.
People that follow our website, The Practical Herbalist, have noticed that there was recently an article about harvesting things after a snowstorm. And that's one of the articles that anybody can take a look at. And there's a number of things, including usnea, as you mentioned on that one.
Yeah, just like the poplar buds, I never take usnea off a live branch that's still attached to the tree. I only take what's already fallen.
Yep. And there was a bounty. There was a bounty to choose from this year.
There sure was.
Yeah, because we got all our snow in a week.
Yeah.
Ka-plump.
Yeah. Right. So with the formulas that I'm using, one of the things I have noticed is that taking time to, especially at the beginning of working with the formula, it makes sense to take time to be meditative with it, because a lot of times it'll start getting things moving and then emotions will arise. And if I don't take the time to notice them and take care of them, they will just linger unpleasantly, and I'm pretty sure that's probably stuff being moved along, just like, acupuncture does that too.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about acupuncture? Because I just started with that about a month ago.
Yeah.
It's brand new to me.
How are you liking it so far?
It's freaking me the hell out. It's really, really, there are things that I grasp. I understand the nervous system. Right. I understand that there's tissue that connects, the squishy cells. I actually wrote this down. What's the name of it?
The fascia.
There's the fascia, and then there's the interstitium, which is a brand new organ they discovered in 2017. And it's just when you have an X-ray, there's all this mushy cells in between all of your organs, and cancer, for example, will travel. Like along breast cancer can go along those cells to go to a different part of the body. And the idea that that's something that we're charting is we're watching it moving along those lines. That means that it's its own organ. There's a highway there. So they're not just little jello molds hanging out in the refrigerator. They actually connect to each other. And now that we know more and we have more evidence, then all of that connection is one of the things that I'm sure at least my acupuncturist said, oh, well, yeah, there's we've been saying this and here's the proof that it exists. So there's some wonderful validation for us. Yeah. So,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll find that is exactly, they're just charting the meridians. That's probably what's happening.
Yeah. That there's systematic communication is not strange to modern science, but getting the tools to chart that has been brand new, and it's exciting to be able to see that show up. So I was fascinated by getting 3 needles in my shoulder, and then the nerves changing my sensation changing in my leg on the opposite side.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's really fascinating is when you get a couple of needles somewhere, like in your forearm or wherever, and then suddenly you're thinking about that brownie you ate when you were 6 years old, and then your brother came in the room and started yelling, and the dog barked, and you dropped your brownie, and the dog grabbed it and ran, or some other crazy story. Like these old things just can pop up. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I don't know. I'm like completely devoid of memories about it.
No, you may.
I might.
Because it doesn't happen every single time.
This is like the physical sensations.
Mm-hmm.
And the acupuncturist always puts one in the center of my head. And he said that's for me to feel happier or something. And I don't know, not having pain always makes me happier.
That one helps you. Nice. I know one of the things that one helps you with is connection with the divine, or, it's like opening the crown chakra when you think about it that way. So it's a good one. It helps you feel more connected.
All right. Yeah. Well, he keeps putting things all over me. So, and then he uses fun little terms like, we're just going to put this little thingy here. And
you're like,
okay, cool. Whatever.
Yeah. Just wait till they pull out one of those 6-inch needles, and then you notice that there's only like 2 inches of it sticking out of you. That's where it gets really freaky for me.
I don't really feel them when they go in. Occasionally I'll feel one that stings.
Yeah. Some of them will be a little spicy, a little, but then the spiciness goes down and you're just there and it's fine. And yeah. But when you actually see the needle and it comes out, you're like, wow, there was 3 inches of needle in my body. That's right next to my spine. Awesome. That wasn't disturbing at all.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting field, and I'm really glad here in Oregon it is covered by our state insurance. So.
And there are actually a surprising number of other insurances, private plans, or group plans or whatever that are also covering
because it works with pain, but it's non-addictive.
Yeah,
so that's really nice. And there's a lot of people that at Occupy Medical we send to acupuncturists to help people with anything from addiction issues to chronic pain to whatever.
Yeah,
there's just all kinds of stuff that seem to work well that way, and I'm grateful for it. And I don't get it.
Just wait till he puts the moxa on you.
He was talking about that, and I said, "Oh, mugwort. Okay,
yeah,
I know mugwort. It stinks.
You're so bad."
I'm sorry, it don't smell good.
Well, not when it's powderized and burning. It smells more like a sage, almost like a air cleansing thing. It's not bad.
Yeah,
and there's a couple, like there's 2 different moxa methods. One where they have these little they're compacted and they have little adhesive on the end, and they
like little cones,
and they stick it to the skin, and then they light it, and then the heat draws, warms up that acupuncture point.
Okay.
And if you're too sensitive or it's too
much for that spot,
then there's another one where they'll actually light a moxa stick and they'll go over the point and they'll heat the point.
It's almost like lighting a super thick incense and then waving it close to wherever the point is.
Okay. Well, that has not happened to me yet, but perhaps in the future we will have some kind of mugwort waving moxie stuff.
Moxa experience.
And then I'll tell you all about it. It seemed like there was another thing that he had brought up. Oh, he talked about necrotic tissue and using Danshin, I think it was.
Dandelion.
Oh, dandelion. Thank you.
Yeah,
dandelion. With necrotic tissue. And thank you, because that was exactly the entire point. Because we work with a lot of diabetic ulcers, so we see a lot of necrotic tissue in the clinic. And at Western medicine, that's what I'm trained in. I've been throwing a lot of dandelion at folks because just if nothing else, the diuretic properties to help drain that swelling. And oh man, it's so difficult to work with a patient that's in that space. You really need a lot of emotional support for them because they're like my leg is rotting and I can smell it and I can see it and it is swollen and it is bumpy and there are chunks missing out of it and it is freaking me out.
Yeah, that would be...
That's their body.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Completely terrifying. And they're embarrassed and they're nauseous and every bad thing. And yet, you know, we've been able to work with people that they're the people that are able to be compliant, and we're able to amend our program to help them with that compliancy to get over that and to move into health and keep their leg, which is really nice.
It's big.
So and that's just our little dandelion.
Yeah. Yeah. That dandelion that everybody wants to poison. I'm like, don't poison it.
Yeah.
Use it.
No, that's a very
use that one. It's a good
important
one.
Yeah. Good old dandelion. Yeah. And then he was mentioning about dandelion being used for cancer treatment. And I thought, oh, that's not in the Western medicinal scene. Like we don't necessarily use that for cancer, but they have that big study up in Canada that they've been getting wonderful results for a type of cancer. And it was really puzzling to me, but I think it might be from the TCM tradition.
That would make sense. And it seems, I mean, it just seems logical to me that dandelion taken internally for when you're going through cancer treatment would make sense because your liver needs a lot of support. That's a lot of radiation or chemicals that you're going to be bombarding your body with.
Yep.
And your liver's got to work on, you know, it has to take all the waste out. So even if you're not even counting the chemicals themselves, the waste that results from stopping the cancer from growing and removing that, your liver is going to be working on removing all that.
Yeah. And using what you have, you know, you get these things in your body and they're there for a reason. They're supposed to do something. So utilizing that and then when you're done. Thank you.
Yep.
See you later.
Yeah. And
helping
I mean,
your body be a good guest.
Yeah. Dandelion in the garden is used to break up deep stuck, soil that's like, deep, digs down deep and it breaks up the hard, stagnant areas and turns like clay back into more porous soil that is useful to the other plants.
Yeah, and it's a good indicator that you have very acid soil.
Yeah.
So, if you want a good lawn, then you're going to have to change that. Instead of just ripping out the dandelions, you got to actually have a fundamental change in your soil. Support it, or you're just going to keep getting more.
Yeah.
And that's going to be too acidic. You probably have like 6.5 or whatever, I think is the range that dandelions start popping up. And grass doesn't like growing at. So it's all about the pH.
Yeah. And from like the energetic level, like dandelion as a flower essence and that sort of thing is for rooting out deep trauma and healing that.
Oh, okay.
Deacidifying your soul.
Interesting. So, well, there we go. That all works together. So we are very grateful that we had Justin. Oh,
yeah.
We're grateful for Jason, whoever he might be, and we're very grateful for Justin.
Yes,
Justin Ehrlich, who is a licensed acupuncturist, and he lives in San Diego.
Yep, practitioner of classical Chinese medicine.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for inspiring us and goodness.
Yep, and as always,
put an herb on it.
Statements made about herbs and products on this podcast have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All information provided on this podcast or any affiliated websites is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. You should not use the information on this podcast and its affiliate websites for a diagnosis or treatment of any health problem. Always consult a healthcare professional before starting any new vitamin supplements, diet, or exercise program before taking any medication.